Hi, everybody. Lori, GLP-1 Journey in Review. I want to say hello to everybody and happy Memorial Day. And for all of those who served in the military, I want to thank you all for your service. Appreciate it. We wouldn't have our country like this without you. So you are appreciated. Let's see here. Sorry, just trying to get this set up here. Okay, so back from vacation. Still up 1.5 pounds, working on it. I lost half the weight in a week. I expected to gain some weight, so I'm not really upset about that. Um, Less than I thought. I see I have two of you here watching. Thank you. Please don't forget to hit that like button. It really does help. So I found this week that actually last week that I was extremely hungry. I don't know if that has anything to do with really not watching what I was eating too carefully last week. So I'm trying to do my medication slightly different today. What I did do is instead of taking my 7.5, I measured about maybe 6-ish, between 5 and 6-ish. Gave that to myself on Sunday, and on Wednesday, I think I'm going to give myself the other 2.5, because towards the end of the week, last week, I was really hungry. So see if that helps. Still basically the same dose. I don't think I'm going to keep it like that. I just want to be able to get down to where I was before my vacation and go from there. That's one of the beauties of the compound, is that you can adjust your dose, and that's kind of what I'm doing. So we have 4 people watching and no likes. Come on, people. Don't you like me anymore? Hit that like button. Thank you. I would appreciate it. It really does help the channel and helps me giving you information. So speaking of this week's information, we know that Novo Nordisk has sued Amble. We were expecting it. Kind of looks like between Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly, they're kind of dividing up the bigger telehealth companies and kind of splitting them. And let me see, comment here. What would you rather watch, a tree grow or a Negro? I find that a little offensive, so we're going to delete that comment. And if they come back, I will just kick them off. So let's act like adults here. It is what it is. 8 people, still no likes. Come on, people. I'm a likable person. So other news in the GLP-1 industry. I have this article that I kind of wanted to read. Let me see if I could find it. And I can only read part of it because I refused to pay. This is on the Atlantic. And it's about President Trump. And he has lost quite a bit of weight lately. And there's some speculation that he's on a GLP-1. Not that there's any shame with that, but I think if he would admit to it, that would go a long way in helping people get over the bad stigma of the GLP-1 medications, because it's not just the easy way. You do have to put some work into it. You don't just take the shot and melt off pounds and eat whatever you want and do whatever you want. It doesn't work that way. So let's get into this article. Ever since the pharmaceutical company Novo Nordisk realizes that GLP-1 drugs were useful for more than just diabetes, doctors and researchers have struggled to answer the deceptively simple question: who should be taking them? The medications are highly effective in inducing weight loss, and most Americans are overweight or have obesity. That's actually 70% if you want to get statistical. But GLP-1s are also expensive and not covered by most insurance, and are designed to be taken for life. Not to mention that they frequently give rise to nausea, loss of appetite, giving them to every overweight American just isn't appropriate. Take President Donald Trump, for example. During his first term, a scan showed signs of plaque buildup in his coronary arteries, which put him at a risk of heart attack. In 2020, his body mass index was just over the threshold for obesity. That combination would have made him a candidate for a GLP-1 medication. And indeed, throughout the 2024 campaign, people speculated that he was taking one. Then last month, Trump's latest physical showed that he had dropped 20 pounds, moving him from obese to just overweight. Trump has never publicly said that he was on a GLP-1 medication. And when reached for comment, the White House did not address this question about how the president had lost weight. I'm just saying that Trump is in peak physical and mental condition. White House press secretary told The Atlantic in an email statement the most revealing aspect of the president's medical report was the list of drugs he is taking, which includes a combination that amounts to what doctors call intensive lipid lowering therapy. And the rest is kind of whited out because I wouldn't pay for it. But in another article I read, it basically said that the White House did not deny or confirm he was taking a GLP-1 medication. So we'll leave it at that. Like I said, let me say hi to all you people. It will, Carol. She doesn't understand that the likes, sometimes take a minute or two to actually take. So, hi, is that Manry? Thank you for joining us. We're talking about everything GLP-1. If any of you have any questions, please, put it in the comments. I'd love to answer you. I'd love to, respond to your comments. If any of you could hit that like button, if you're not subscribers, hit that subscribe button. We're getting really close. It'll really help. I really want to advocate for more accessibility and lower prices of these GLP-1 medications. I'm just a little voice in here, and I want to grow and be able to advocate for all you people and myself, because I am paying cash for my compounded GLP-1 medication. Now, my wife is on Mounjaro, and it is covered by insurance because she is a type 2 diabetic, but it's still expensive. Sometimes her copay, is like $150, and I would love to see the cash pay down to about $200. And, we're heading there, especially with this new executive order that President Trump did sign, that says that we will not pay any more than countries of our status, other countries. So, for example, like I know that England is paying about $150 for the month, that we shouldn't be paying more than that, because they're, equal to us. We're both not poverty countries or anything like that. MJ, thank you for watching. Your opinion is noted. This is not a political channel, so I'm just using them in the stories that they're involved with. Everybody is entitled to like to who they like. I will post it, but again, it's not a political channel. So, if it's not a good thing to say, I'm not going to put it up there, because, I don't care who gets us better prices. I don't care what party they're from. I don't care. I want better accessibility and better pricing. So that's what I'm going for. Anything else out there? So, with his executive order, we have a chance of it getting lowered. It's going to take a bit. I'm sure they're going to fight it. I'm sure the pharmaceutical companies are going to fight it. Look what they're doing to the compounding companies. Although, in my opinion, it doesn't sound like the compounding companies are too afraid of all these cease and desists and being sued and all that kind of stuff. And, the fact that the FDA took it off the shortage list, and technically they're not supposed to be prescribing it. Like, I know Orderly has this long, big thing of how they're going to be doing the compounding ordering in the future, where, they're going to have something like, the Renfo scale helping give data, blood work, um, you know, more, I don't know if it's actually going to be visits, but, and it may be, in text type of visits, but they're going to get a little bit more into it and have some more options. Like if you're nauseated, they may put like an anti-nauseating type of thing into the medication and have it a little more custom that way. I don't know if it works. It may buy us some time, but they're not holding back. They've come out there and said, we bought a pharmacy and it should be up in August. So they're also going with cheaper ways to have it sent. They're doing studies on having it sent and having it with no ice. Now, I have received compound, with no ice, or, basically fairly warm. Not supposed to be. I've used it. It was fine. They're actually doing studies to see how it holds out, and, like if it does loses any bit of, efficiency, they're going to give us the percentage, and they're going to give us options. Like if you're okay, and I'm making these numbers up, so don't take them literally, but let's say that, if you don't use any ice and you just send it, for over like a 3-day, 2 to 3 day shipment, and it's going to be 98% effective, you'll have that choice of saving on that shipping cost, because it's expensive to, dry ice, regular ice, put it in all these styros and this and that, and it leaves a big footprint and so forth. So, at least they're trying to come up with ways. Right now, it seems like most of the companies are still sending it out. I'm getting it sent out. I'm trying to find, I have a website here. Um, I have to go back to it because I don't know what I do with that website. Basically, it's a GLP-1 finder, and it'll tell you what's available and at what price currently. Um, Again, I would stick with the biggest companies, because some of these smaller ones, you don't know what you're getting. I know there's a lot of talk about gray market, and there's a lot of talk about, sending it in powder and having to reconstitute it. You know, mistakes could be made with that, and although mistakes can be made, with just getting it from different pharmacies, because my dose, and these are both from Mochi, my dose from Red Rock and South End are different doses. So very important to keep that label so that you don't make a mistake and either overdose yourself or underdosing yourself, because, you could end up in the ER if you overdose yourself. And if you underdose yourself, obviously the medication isn't working. So again, let's be careful with that. Sorry, let's see if I can find that real quick. If it's like glp1finder.com, but I don't want to give you wrong information. So while I can't find that, I want to show you this new product that I tried. Let me see if I can get this. I got it on Amazon. It's basically a shot. It's Protco for protein, sugar-free, and it has 17 grams of protein, and it's a little squeeze thing. For example, today I woke up, had my coffee with my collagen, so I did get a little bit of protein. I'm not a big breakfast person, as you all know, And then I went to work out. Worked out first at Hotworks, and then I went over to Planet Fitness. And then I kind of came home, kind of got a little bit of a late start because this morning I wanted to go out and put flags to our neighborhood because it is Memorial Day. And I do like to thank all the people that served in our community. So I put flags up and down the street. So anyhow, a little bit later start because of that. Got home and it's like, I got like 45 minutes before this live starts. Let me start getting ready. And really haven't eaten anything yet. So I'm going to have one of these in just a moment because pretty much I'm not going to have breakfast. So at least I'll have had my 10 grams of protein from my collagen and my coffee. And then I'll have 17 grams of this. So I'll have 27 grams of protein. I will have some lunch and then a normal dinner. So at least, that's a good thing. Um, and that's pretty much it for my day. I'm working on some new videos. I'm working one on how cardiologists are getting on board with GLP-1 medications. As a matter of fact, in the near future, I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to be prescribing them for heart health. So, that's always a good thing. And for those of you that are still here or watching on the replay, please hit that like, subscribe button, share if you know somebody that might get from this. We're 3/4 of the way to monetization, and I'd really like to get there soon so that I can get you some even better videos out there and better information and advocate a little bit more and, play a little bit with the big dogs rather than, just as many people, again, still working on some interviews. Some of them are from people in the UK. One of them was just, sick. The other one is kind of super, super busy. And with I think it's like a 7-hour time difference, if I'm not mistaken, a little hard for us to get together to do the interview. I just asked somebody else that I know for an interview. My wife doesn't know it, but I'm going to ask her to do an interview, get her perspective on being a type 2 diabetic on this medication, a little bit slower losing. And she also has COPD, so she's got some obstacles to overcome with the medication. But, she is still, I think it's 30 pounds down. So congratulations to her for that. It's taken her a little bit longer because of the type 2 diabetes, and she can't really do a lot of exercise or a lot of walking. She is walking as much as she can. She's doing her chair yoga, and I've noticed that, while she's sitting on the couch these days, there's some dumbbells there. No, I'm not referring to me, Carol, but she's been, doing some arm things while she's sitting there watching TV, which I always recommend. Any bit of movement, especially, if it's, movement that you weren't expected to do. And what the hell, you're just sitting there watching TV, surely you could, grab a dumbbell and, do some of this, just any little bit helps. You'd be surprised it all adds out. So why not? So maybe she'll let us do an interview. We'll see. Also have a friend of mine that said that she would do an interview. She's out traveling now. Right now she's in Egypt. So when she gets back, and she's got to take care of her parents now. So they've moved in or they're moving in. So a little bit hectic, but we are going to get you those interviews. I promise. Working the best that I can because I do have a full-time job and I do work a lot of overtime at it. So I'm at least getting you out a video a day, counting my live sometimes as the video, but hopefully it's some good information. I've got some really good feedback. I have a contest going on. You have to watch the video because sometime during the video I tell you how to enter. You have to be a subscriber. So again, hit that subscribe button, get a head start on it. So that way you don't have to worry about it when you're watching the video and you see how to enter. You're already a subscriber, so you're already a plus. One of your three things that you have to do is already done. So, of course you can interview me. Okay, so we'll be having an interview with Carol soon. Um, I always like interviewing my wife because I'm not afraid to ask her anything. Those of us that aren't educated as North of the United States, yes. And I have to admit, myself included, I think Americans are terrible with geography. So myself included, I kind of know where the big ones are, but that's about it. Kind of embarrassed about that one, but you know, school just keeps getting worse and worse here, and with budget cuts, I don't know how it's going to get much better, but that's a whole nother topic, whole nother video, whole nother channel, whole nother niche. So let's get back to GLP-1. So I'm still on the tirzepatide. I'm still trying to equal 7.5. I said, maybe just for this week and next week, I may do that. Just splitting it up a little bit because I really want to lose that pound and a half that I got on vacation. So, like I said, one of the beauties of the compound is you can do that. Pretty hard to do it with a pen. I've seen people do it with a pen, and it's like, is it risk the chance of getting an infection? I've read people online that have taken their pen and injected into a vial, and some of them it's crazy things like, oh, I took my vial of compound med that I got from XYZ pharmacy, Red Rock, whatever, South End, whatever, and I washed it out and I put it in there. I'm like, yeesh, these are sterile for a reason, like, you know, you could buy, I think it's 10 or 12 sterile bottles on Amazon for like $8. Do you want to risk getting a severe infection and even possibly sepsis or anything like that? Or, does that come down to $1 a vial? Really? I mean, but people are going to do what people are going to do. It's crazy out there. People are getting crazy, and I know times are tough. That's one of the reasons why we need this, medication at an affordable price and very accessible. Because if it was 200, even 250, I'll even go as high as 275 to get, like Eli Lilly Direct. I wouldn't bother with these compounding pharmacies. I mean, like a Nova Nordisk is, I think it's 299, but that's only the first dose. Like, come on, you know, like that's the first packet, the first month's worth. After that, back up to regular price. Appreciate the discount, but you have to. You could do it. I mean, in India, in the UK, it's a lot cheaper. I know people. I was thinking of doing a video that people are traveling just to get their GLP-1 because you could go to England, get a couple months worth of GLP-1 medication for $450, where here it would be like almost $2,000 to $3,000, and basically you get your trip paid for. I mean, they're shopping for you know these medications. It's insane. Like it shouldn't be that way. So it's kind of weird out there. We're all doing the best that we can. Uh, as far as some other new videos, uh, actually pull up my channel and let's see here. Again, I have one on heart health. I have one on liver disease, and it's help. And what it's doing for liver disease, along with polycystic cysts of the ovaries, fertility, other uses. I've kind of combined that into one video that's kind of related. Um, again, they're finding more and more uses. They're still doing a lot of research on Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's. That would be great because as of now, there's nothing for preventative. There's only for um, slowing it down a little bit, which this does both. It's amazing. It's like, you know, this is going to be, a wave in the future. We're going to be looking back at this in 10 years, and it's going to be as commonly prescribed as statins, for something just as easily. So I think it's time for me to try my little protein shot. Let's see how much they want on Amazon, just to let everybody know. Because I've had some protein waters. They're a way to get you to drink water, but they're not most tasty to me. So I'd rather get my protein and have that water either with an electrolyte or some crystal light or something like that. Okay, so I got 24 packs for $43. Not the cheapest thing, but you get, like, I think each bottle of protein water was about $3. It's right about the same thing. And like I said, this is a gel. I'm gonna open it up. Hopefully I won't make a mess. Voila, done. So I just got 17 grams protein. Orange cream, didn't taste too bad. This is the best 100%. Is it like having a creamsicle? No, but it's definitely tolerable. It's definitely doable. I wouldn't recommend it, as a dessert, but, I would even say, a child probably wouldn't mind the taste. Not that I'm saying give this to your children, but could you cross the border and get it in Mexico for cheap? Again, that's one thing that I was researching. I'm just not sure the legality of drugs. Plus, it's not like you could go over there with your prescription. You would probably have to see somebody there. Now, I think in Mexico, I think the pharmacist could prescribe stuff to look into. I know that also in Congress, they were talking about getting it from Canada because they get it a lot cheaper. But one of the hiccups to that is I don't know if Canada, wants to give up a big supply of their GLP-1s to give to America and possibly run into a shortage themselves. They're probably going to have to do this over, several countries because, again, we're a lot of people in America. So if we take a country's supply, they're going to be short because we might have to do this over 6 or 7 countries. And I guess once, if we start doing this, I would hope that Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly will say, hey, let's make the money, directly with them. Come on. It's like, it's the same thing. But whatever way we have to do it, again, I don't know what the legality is about taking these drugs across the border. Of course, I would assume you'd have the prescription. If you got it, let's say from the UK, I don't know what they would charge for you to get, see one of their healthcare practitioners, get the prescription, get the medication. And I would assume it's legal, but I'm not a lawyer. So I mean, this is one of the things why I was going to make a video to look into some of these legalities. But the thing of that is hopefully in 4 or 5 months it's going to be a mood issue, and like prices will have gone down here considerably. May not be quite to what we want them, but I do really see them going down soon because the companies have um, not made it by charging 1,000, 1,200 and doing it that way like they thought they were. And they're still falling short all the time to their shareholders. So they have to try another approach. They've already lowered it some with, the Lilly Direct, and the Nova Nordisk has a discount program or a direct type of program. They just have to do it a little bit more. Because remember what they're saying is that almost 50% of these people on these medications are actually taking compounded medications. That's huge. They got to find a way to get that back. And they're not going to unless they lower prices. Like I said, if they would lower the prices to 250, that would take a huge dent out of these compounding companies, even though that they're really not supposed to be selling them anymore. Looking at some of my contents. Hi from Canada, Jack Nickerson. How you doing? Carol got some of her meds from Australia and Canada because they're cheaper. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why the United States is charged so high. Well, because they're getting it, and we're willing to pay for it. And PBMs and corrupt politicians, and I don't know how long it's going to take to get that under control, if we ever get that part of it under control. But there's hope. I'm hoping for that. I hope everybody else is hoping for that. Sorry for not having a background. I was having a problem with that. Um, so, what kind of medications is everybody taking? I know Carol's taking Monjero. Uh, Dwight, are you on the medication? Thinking about the medication? I know the people from the UK that I am going to be interviewing. They are on Monjero. I don't even know if they have compounding in other countries because they get it. So, $150 a month. I mean, I don't think a compounding company is going to come in and make it much cheaper. So, Carol gets her Trelegy from wherever it's cheapest. Last time it was Australia, but it did take a while. So, we'll see. But, like I said, if these, they're getting it for 150, I don't even know if they have compounding. That's one of the things I'm going to talk to these people about. Because everybody that I've talked to from UK and all that are all on name brand. So, like I said, I don't even think they have it. Their system is it's different because we have private health. They don't. Good parts, bad parts. The good parts is obviously the price control. Bad parts, timing, getting appointments and so forth. Because I know a lot of people in that country are actually paying cash because it just takes too long to the healthcare system. I don't know if any healthcare system is perfect, but we need to try to take the best of theirs, the best of ours, put it together and pray because it's kind of fucked up. There's no other way to put it. We're all adults here, and I'm just going to say it's fucked up. So that's it for the other countries. Anybody having any good luck? Anybody finding any good meals? I know that Carol and I have gone back to Factor meals because I'm working a little bit late, and for us, it's a very good option. They have several different types. I'm picking the ones that are called GLP-1 friendly, but I'm also, I also pull all of them up, and I'm kind of my ideal dinner, and they are portion control. Pop them in the microwave for like 2.5 minutes. Um, is basically between 500 and 600 calories. Have some carbs, but not a super lot of carbs. Um, we're not too worried about fat, so if it has a little bit higher fat, we're not too worried because we don't eat much food with a lot of fat in it. So we tend to have a lot of their chicken. They have some really good broccoli, and they have cauli smashed cauliflower, mashed cauliflower, which is really good. They even have some with some mashed potatoes with some cheese, which brought it up to about that 600 calorie mark. But everything else, like we check the carbs, make sure that they're try to keep it no more than 25% of the daily allowed. No artificial stuff. It comes to us once a week. It's very well packed. Has some, dry ice and everything in it. And again, portion control usually has a vegetable. Uh, Most common chicken. We have had their salmon, which is good. I'm considering getting a little pork dish. They have a turkey one, which looks pretty good. Uh, Again, we're doing this because they're changing hours again at work, trying to save money and having us work from 6 in the morning to 8 at night. Lucky me. And I don't want to have to come home and cook and do it. So like some days I'll get out at 7:30, and then I might, because I only usually am about 10 minutes away. Then I might, make it at home. Like I said, 2.5 minutes in the microwave, make Carol's, and we could eat together. If not, I'll just um, have it at work at about, like 6:45 or so. And I don't like to eat while I'm scanning and working, but I also don't want to eat that late either. So, because then, if I go to sleep at 9:30, it's just too full in my stomach. And the food has been pretty good. Uh, I want to say it's somewhere around $10 to $12 per meal. Obviously, the more you order, the cheaper it gets. So, possible, but I don't really want to have it more than 3 to 4 times a week. I guess another possibility is adding some lunches to bring down the price. I've thought about that because I've just really been too busy so much to make my lunches. I've been getting some stuff at a deli so that at least I know it's made with real ingredients, and they pretty much tell me what's in it. Or I'll get some grilled chicken with a little gravy at one of the delis and have that for lunch. So basically, price wise, it's again probably like $7-8 for the lunch. But it's fortunately right now with working all this overtime, I could afford that. Uh, Again, I don't want to blow all my hard work. I know I can bring in a salad and stuff like that. I just have so little time at home because those days tend to be consecutive. Uh, so there really isn't a lot of time to meal prep. It's not like I can make a salad and eat it 3 days later. I know there's salad places that I could carry in from, but I know there's one or two of them that actually follow the rules of what they say they're going to put in there and so forth. Possibility, trying it, you know, life throws you a lemon, you make lemonade. I'm going to do the best I can. This is my new lifestyle. This is my new way of eating. And, just going to have to make some adjustments. It's fine. I thought about like with all these delis here and, maybe bringing some soup for dinner. People maybe it's like some beef barley or something along those lines. A cup of it might be a possibility, might come out a little bit cheaper. We'll see. And it's a work in progress. I'll let you know how that's all going. I'm telling you these so that you also have some ideas if you're in the same type of situation. Hopefully you'll have time to meal prep. Excuse me. I know that my wife, one of the delis really likes to make a very good chicken salad, and they throw some grapes in there. She just has some of that, sometimes with some celery, sometimes just the chicken salad. Another deli, and even the same deli has a really good health slaw or a cucumber salad, which is great with it. And you don't have to worry about like cucumber salad or health salad, wilting. Like if I got a salad, Monday and was expecting to eat it Wednesday or Thursday, it'd be a little scary looking. Probably still good, but not the. I want my food to be, to look appetizing. I mean, that's just. I'm not quite as bad as some people. I will eat out of a container. It doesn't have to be on a plate. I'm not quite that bad, but you know, that's just me. I got a couple people that have really started watching my cooking series. So if you haven't seen the cooking series, a lot of good tips, a lot of good quick recipes. Some are expensive, some of them aren't so expensive. You could obviously, for some of the fish, substitute a less expensive fish and come with the same outcome. Um, so I'm going to look for some more stuff to do on that. I have like 30 things, and I think for somebody that has 30 fairly quick, healthy recipes in the repertoire, that's pretty good. So again, I kind of have to hunt around a little bit to see what have I, forgotten that I used to make that could go into here. Um, I don't really have a separate one for less expensive, but the last one that I posted was turkey sausage with some already store-bought sugar, no sugar added spaghetti sauce. Again, making it yourself is a little bit better, but there's that time issue. That's part of it. So, I try to have mine in 15 to 20 minutes. You can make something really healthy and cook it for an hour. I'm just not that type of person that'll do that. Um, I was thinking of possibly doing some lunch things, like making a turkey loaf where you can have it for the week, or a meatloaf. But I don't know how people would do with that. So we'll see. Just a thought. Let me know in the comments that what you think about it. I was kind of thinking of a dessert one, but it's some of these lower calorie desserts are okay, some aren't. My favorite, if I'm going to make something like that, is I'll take we have a Vitamix, but I'm sure a lot of the good blenders will do it. If you take some frozen fruit, for example, frozen strawberries, maybe a little protein milk. I usually put a packet or two of stevia in there, and you blend it up and kind of make it like an ice cream. You might have to freeze it a little bit more. It makes a pretty good substitute for ice cream, but it's like I haven't been really craving that, and since I haven't been craving it, because I eat a lot of fresh fruit, and for me that takes care of that sweet tooth. Now, when I was on vacation, could I have made it? Possibly, but I was on vacation. I just ate the real thing because, again, this is a lifestyle. No, let me repeat this. No food is off limits. Didn't need to hit my microphone. No food is off limits. You just have to, you know, not have it every day, and small portion, and it's usually fine. Again, we went on vacation. I gained like 3.5 pounds. I think my wife gained like 4 pounds. Perfectly acceptable. Carol's lost all of hers. I'm still kind of doing it like my maintenance type thing. And so, if I lose the other pound and a half I have over another 2, 3 weeks, I'm good. It's only been a week, so if I lose that 4 pounds over 3, 4 weeks, 3.5 pounds, whatever it was, um, I'm happy with that. And I'd be okay if I didn't lose it, but I have my goal weight of 118, and I kind of would like to stick within 2 pounds, and I am within 2 pounds of it now, but I'd like to stay like at it so that if I did go up a pound one day, it's not over, but we'll see. So got 3 people in here now. I know most people will watch this on the replay. So everybody's kind of like in that silent mode. So no comments out there. Again, I'm getting really close. Please, people, please, please, please like, subscribe. Let me get to there. Got some really cool things planned when we're monetized. Some, private stuff, private help. Some maybe like a whole Zoom chat of some private members and so forth, where we could actually discuss face to face on things. As long as it's a small group, why not? I asked somebody that I know that's somewhat of a big name if they'll do an interview on their weight loss. Don't know if they will. Don't want to give any names or get any hopes. Gotta put this up there because this is big. 34 pounds. Whoa. Hey, way to go, Carol. Maybe you even need some fireworks. Yeah. 34 pounds. That's great. And like I said, she's type 2 diabetic, so it's slower. She can't really go to the gym and exercise too much. COPD, arthritis. Um, I'm trying to convince her to go to physical therapy so that they give her some, stuff that she could do. Didn't seem to be too thrilled about that, but there's a place that just opened up by our house, actually right next to one of the hot works that I go to, that besides has red light and stuff like that, has a chiropractor, and they actually do physical therapy, and they do take insurance and things like that, maybe just with the red lights and just, they'll do like a free assessment type thing. Yeah, maybe they could give her an idea or two, and maybe she'll like that idea or two. And it's really close to the house. It's only like a little more than a mile. Uh, Let me tell you one of the things that I have done lately, especially on vacation, and I'm really getting into it now, is if I could, no elevators. I've been using the stairs. Now, when I'm with my wife, of course, I'll take the elevator. But like when we were going up and down to the beach, we were on the 3rd floor and actually ground. So I think that actually makes it 4 floors. I did the stairs all the time. And like I did a CPR class yesterday, which is why I couldn't do my live yesterday, because that was going on the same time that it would have been the live. They were on the 2nd floor, and every time I did the stairs, and I'm trying to get more into that because every little bit helps. I'm parking further away. Now, I do have to admit today I parked close, but it was raining, so I didn't want to get too wet because early in the day. So I'm not perfect, but I'm trying to do everything that I can to help the process because I'm feeling great. I think I feel better than I have felt in as long as I can remember. So at least since I was like in my 30s, and like I'm in my late 60s now. So I want to keep it up. I could tell you, I work with mainly, like 28 to 35-year-olds or 38-year-olds at work. I think I have a lot more energy than they do. Uh, if I was ballsy enough, I would challenge them to do one of my workouts with me, see how they do. But I work with them. I don't want to piss them off. And I want them to say, that girl's a bitch. Look, she's lost some weight. Now she's being a bitch. We have enough negative stigma with taking these medications with people saying, hey, we're taking the easy way out, and we're not. It's just a tool. It's just making it so that we could do it. Um, we're putting in the work. We're watching what we eat. And again, there's this one girl at work. I keep bringing her up. She's taking her Ozempic. She's not watching what she eats. She's just hoping that because she's not eating as much of it, she still has her Taco Bell. Instead of 3 tacos, she's eating 2 tacos. She still has her fried chicken. She's just eating 2 pieces instead of 3. Is she losing weight? I think she started in January, and this is May. I think she's lost like 5, maybe 6 pounds. Yeah, that's losing weight, but nothing like if she would be watching it. And obviously, the minute, she hasn't taught herself any good habits. So when she gets off the medication, you just have, 70% of people anyhow are going to regain the weight if they get off this medication, which is why I'm okay taking some sort of GLP-1 medication, whether it's this one or one of the newer ones coming out. I'm okay with that because I don't want to gain the weight back. They say that if you've learned your eating habits really well and your workout habits, but you would probably have to like triple your workout in order to maintain it. I work out like 3 to 4 hours a week. I don't know if I could realistically triple it, so will I try it? I do plan on maybe stretching this out a little bit, like instead of taking a shot every week, slowly go to 10 days. And if I could, 2 weeks. I know a lot of people on maintenance have done 2 weeks and are doing fine. I know a lot of people that are on 15 every single week and are doing fine. Everybody's different. And plus, you know, this, getting down to maintenance, it's a new thing. It's like, and there really aren't any studies. So it's like, what do you go by? It's so new. It's like you have all these people that have now taken it for a year or two that are close to their weight or reaching their goal weight, or people like me that have been on it a year and 5 months that have reached their goal and are trying to figure out maintenance. So, they have, when you get on the medication, you do your 2.5 month, 2.5 for a month, then you go to 5. The first recommendation was every month you go up. Well, now they're changing a little bit because people are going up too fast. If you are using, a doctor that specializes in GLP-1 medication, like an endocrinologist or just a general doctor who actually knows, they're keeping you on these doses longer, basically until you stop. There are no studies out there really on maintenance because it's too new. And it's like, how do you figure them out now? I'm sure they're trying, but it's like, it's not like we're in a trial, but basically we're the guinea pigs. It's us people that are on maintenance now that are telling you how we're doing them and how we're doing on it that are, being, the example of how to do maintenance, and there's many different ways, just like there's many different ways of doing this medication. I know a lot of people that do their microdosing. I know many people that stay on 2.5 their whole entire journey. I know people that take half of their 2.5 on Sunday, half of it on Wednesday, and I'm just using those as an example. For me, this is going to be my first time of splitting a dose like that, only because I don't understand why all of a sudden I'm getting hungry. Well, there's a half-life to this. It's a 5-day half-life, and if I take my shot on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it makes sense that by Wednesday I'm hungry again. But I haven't had a problem with it before. Again, is it because I went on vacation and ate a little too much? Possibly. So I'm going to try this for a week, see how I do. If it works, I might do it for 2, 3 weeks. Will I do it forever? I'm still experimenting on trying to find out what my maintenance is. I was perfectly fine on my 7.5, you know, dose for maintenance. My next step, after that, I was going to try to stretch it out a little bit. I tried to go down to 5 milligrams for a little bit, and I had some food noise back. So I figured, 7.5 seems to be my dose. And talking to a lot of people, that's a very common dose for people that are on maintenance. So since I couldn't drop down, I think I could go, once I get this hunger thing straightened out, I could probably stretch it out. Even if I don't get this hunger thing, you know, who knows? Like I'm going to do my 5, 6, whatever, and then the other 2.5 on Wednesday. Maybe, if that works, maybe I'll stretch it out to Thursday and won't take my other dose until, Sunday. Who knows? It's all new. Everybody's still trying to figure it out. Again, if anybody has any maintenance ideas, please put them in the comments. I've done um, videos on maintenance. Other people have done video on maintenance. Everybody's journey is different, and all we could do is learn from each other. This is where it's so important to have support, which is another reason why I do this channel, is we need to support each other. We need to get ideas from each other because you can't do this alone. You need help. I'm here to help all of you, and believe it or not, you are helping me. So we're all helping each other. That's the beauty of these YouTube channels. So, not just mine. Watch everybody's. Learn as much as you could. I'm doing it. I'm on everybody's support group on Facebook. And just a little note on that, if you're, because they're disappearing a lot, whether it's from these big pharma that are making them do that. There's a lot of theories about that. Um, or if somebody, and it could be somebody from pharma, reporting them to Facebook or whatever. If you report something to Facebook, they're going to take it down, ask questions later, and you got to prove your innocence. It's not like the regular law in America. So if you're having a problem with anything on Facebook, talk to the creator, talk to the monitor, give them a chance to correct it, because you know, Facebook should be your last resort. I'm not saying not to use them if you can't get it straightened out, but use Facebook as a last resort, because we all need this kind of talk. We all need this support. We all have questions. They're getting very, very, very picky as to what you can have in your support group. If you start mentioning doses and stuff like that, they're going to flag it and take you down. You have to appeal it. And again, I think we have some people from some of these, big pharmaceutical companies that are in these groups that are doing the flagging, to Facebook to get these dropped. Because like I said, 50% of people on this GLP-1 medication are actually on compound. That's huge. That's half their business, and they're making like $100 billion. So they're losing also $100 billion. So that's big. And just to prove that point is a pretty small channel, well, not in my eyes, but downsized. It's obvious that Eli Lilly has watched them, because they were actually, one of their videos was in the suit that they filed against Mochi. So they're watching, these channels. They're probably not watching me because I'm not monetized, and I hope to be soon. And I hope they will be watching me soon, because I'm going to advocate the hell out of getting prices lower and more accessible. That's my mission with this channel, along with keeping me accountable and helping all of you, of course. Uh, well, I'm going to get off my preacher box for today, and wish you all a good Memorial Day if you're in the United States. If you're not in the United States, have a great Monday. I almost said Sunday because I usually do these on Sunday. And look forward to your feedback and looking forward to you liking and subscribe. And please enter my contest. I'm dying to give away more gift cards. It's really easy. I give you the keyword someplace in the video and tell you what to do with the keyword. And if you're a subscriber and do it, you're entered. And once you're entered until you win. So the more times you enter, the better chance you have of winning. So that's it for tonight. Have a good day.